Boy, you filthy gits. What the crap's going on? Welcome back to the Heir of Grom campaign, where his immensity is back. And I put up a vote, and I'm going to let you all know the results of that vote, and kind of what we're going to do to end the campaign, because our campaign was ruined by the Dark Elf scum taking over Tour of Res before Grom could do it properly. So let's go take a look at the results of said poll. Plus, I have some fine dining coming up for you as well, so make sure you stick around. Alright, so for the poll that I put up, the option that got the most votes, and it was fairly close, like there was a pretty good number of people who wanted me to just go take Tour of Res off the Dark Elves and do it that way, but the winning vote was said to try and confederate Grimgore. And I will attempt to do that. It's going to be an ugly fight. We'll need to finish Couronne first, which is fine because beating the filthy peasants is obviously one of the goals that Grom would hold tight to in any case. So, speaking of finishing the Bretonnians, sometimes what helps a bunch of fighty boys is getting the right food in their belly. You know, you have to serve them the right grub. Speaking of serving the right grub, just heard my dog about the yak over in the corner, so clearly he's been eating Grom's cooking as well. So, let's go in here. So let's first review some of the fine dining we've had in the past. We've had Grom's Surf and Turf, the Magnum Pizza, which was very excellent, some Bugman's Battered Ribs, Misty Mountain Broth, Gobbo's Seafood Quiche, Nuggets and Slime, and then Shrooms and Awful Sausage, which wasn't nearly as awful as the name suggested. It was actually quite delicious. Now, the boys be needing something new. They need something that can fuel their fightiness and their rage against the peasants. And Grom has considered this and is ready to cook them a fine dish. It's going to start off with some nice wing leather as a good base. Now this will give them some extra range and some hollow bone ammunition, which is good for anti-large. You know, all them peasant horses and birds and stuff flying around, we can handle that. Now, to add to this base of flavor, we're going to be throwing in some stinky fungi. This stinky fungi is so stinky that it even makes walls and garrisons crumble and fall earlier because of the immense reek coming towards them. So enemy siege holdout time of -5 to a minimum of only 1 turn, which means that the Bretonnians can't be hiding in their filthy castles. Now, this is an excellent base, and it would make a new dish we haven't tried yet called Wyvern Stew. And the boys is very excited about this, but Grom wants to make this stew even sweeter. So we're going to spice it up a notch. You know, bam, like some troll meat. And now all our gobbos is passively regenerating. And then we're going to spice it up another notch with this. Bam, spider egg yolk. Okay? And now our Arachnarok spiders get the maternal instinct ability, and we get some spider rider archers into our regiments of renown pool. So, Grom has cooked up only the finest wyvern stew for the boys.
Damn fine.
And they's now filled up with its fine goodness. Now we still have 5 more dishes that we'll have to discover here, and we'll work on that. But the boys is well fed for our fight with the Bretonnians. So now that our stomach is full and we's ready, we're going to be looking at what needs to be finished. Now Cannibal Daka has Couronne by the throat here. And as you can imagine, the siege holdout time is about to be massively reduced. We're going to wait 1 more turn and get our siege equipment here. And the settlement garrison and Swidbert. I'm going to just call him Squidbert because it's close enough. And he will make some fine meals afterwards, no doubt. We're going to continue the siege at Couronne. And some of you had some suggestions that I need to put into place here. Alright, now one suggestion came was a name. And it was naming a lord, and I do have a lord available here, so we're going to name him Gore Don de Ramsay. So this is obviously a nice throw to all the cooking we do in this campaign, and I think a good name choice altogether. Alright, now, as for, I asked a name for Castle Bastogne, and there were a few suggestions, but I think my favorite one was Castle Bologna. Bologna is how I would say it. Bologna. Whatever. But I'm going to change it like this, to where it's like a very fancy French bologna, okay? Very fine. Just the way that these peasants like it. So we have now change the name of that castle to something far more appropriate. Alright, now finally, I think we're about ready to end the turn. We've got more boys on the way, so it's about to get a little more expensive, but you know, with all these fine Bretonnian lands about to make themselves available to us, I feel like we'll be in very excellent shape. You can see Aquitaine, unfortunately, might fall to our rat friends here, but I don't know, that is a pretty crappy army. Scalpite might want to improve his capabilities there, because that is some pretty weak stuff. We do have Lioness and Mousillon over here, which would give us a couple of ports from which to be active from. And I'm less concerned about Aquitaine. Not really anything here of any particular value to me. Bordelot has some fine wine that Grom would love to get his hands on for some cooking. But I think what we're going to do is make a move for Mousillon and Lioness to secure some ports from which to operate. And I would assume that the need will come for such things. And we'll leave Cannibal Dacca of Carthage up here, ready to continue what he is needing to do. The Reekland is in process of many upgrades. As per usual, we're kind of ignoring the upgrades in the forest, because they are really of no use to us at the moment. So we're going to skip those. Forco is back and ready for some continued stabbing. I am going to send him over here and see if we can use him to engage with the Hag Merchant. Not 100% certain whether that'll work, but, you know, we'll give it a shot. And let's end our turn. Now, during the first couple of turn-ins, or maybe in total, I'm going to cover some of the comments that you all left me from last time, rather than just editing this time out. So, H.H. Ray says, oh, how I missed his immensity. Well, he missed you all too. And, in fact, he was so angry about not being here that he clubbed Air over the head with the Fishy Tittlemunch's carrion sack. So, I smell terrible, and I'm also feeling a little bit beaten. Little does he know. Little does he know. We are working to confederate him. He wants us to join the war against the Dark Elves. At the moment, we will not do such a thing, but we will see. I've got to get Grimgor to join a confederation in order to force the end of the campaign. Now, one thing I need to go check on is whether the Greenskins can confederate in a similar way as the Norskins, which would be beat down a warlord, and then all of a sudden they might want to confederate. Now, look at this here. I'm going to call them Baldmere because he's a loser. The Devoted. Now, look at this. I'm going to call this guy... Now look at this, the bravery of Bretonnia on full display here. So powerful, such an army that they completely avoid the armies that are sieging their own settlements and march to Alfart, which is almost entirely unprotected here, and makes his attack there because, yeah, the bravery, folks, the sheer bravery of it all. Loser. Make You Do and another, I think it's Jinx. Yeah, both had mentioned missing the commentary in the battles. Listen, Crowboy, we don't care.
Oblivion has come, my lord. Archaon, the ever-chosen lord of the end times.
Yeah. I'm the only lord around here, and Archaon will probably taste delicious as soon as he hits the stew pot, so I'm not really worried about any chaos invasions. Now, a couple of you had said that you missed me doing the commentary on the battles. I may or may not do those every time. Last time, I just wanted to have the cinematic battles back, and with the focus on it being cinematic rather than my commentary, that is precisely why it proceeded in the way that it did. Look at this. They run out of food in one turn because of the meal we cooked. Let's continue the siege here. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with the commentary. I'm going to just play that one by ear. There was also comments from folks who enjoyed not having the commentary and just kind of focusing on the battle, so it looks like that kind of could just go either way. Yeah, see, only one turn now remaining until they run out of food. We're not giving them that one turn, though. We're attacking now. And Cannibal Dacca is going to unleash his rage on Couronne and take our Wa target. So let's fight this battle. Folks, what is this? You know, Grom is always hungry, and I guess Bretonnia was just going to help out here by delivering the beef right up front in the battle. So I guess if that's the the best that Bretonnia can do, then so be it. So, yes. Welcome to the gates. Cannibal Daka of Carthage is attacking the Bretonnian home city. You have to admit that that statue in the back will be a great, like, center post for probably the biggest mound of dung the Greenskins have ever left after a battle. Now, we'll go take a look at the defenders up here. There are quite a lot of them. As we swoop in here, you can see the peasants waiting on the walls, because of course the nobles are never the ones standing up front. You know, they've got their peasant archers guarded by some more peasants with these kind of second-tier halberds there. Tier 2, maybe even Tier 3. Then we've got the noble wannabes here. These guys could actually afford a couple of scraps of armor. Here comes the foot squires. And then as far as defenses, again, all the nobles are hiding well behind the gates, hoping to stay safe. We can see some Knights of the Realm hiding out here. And then, of course, hiding all the way back at the town center, not wanting any real part of the battle, is the real elite of Bretonnia, like this Prophetess of Beast and the Pegasus Knights. So again, they don't want anything to do with all the scrapping, which is obviously one of the things that separates the boyz from the peasants. There are some Grail Knights over here as well. At this point, the towers have reached the walls, so let's go get a piece of that action, which should be nice and spicy, as the Black Orcs, you guys have seen the stats on these units, they're going to absolutely and utterly slaughter peasants at wholesale. There's really no unit here that has any prayer of doing any significant damage to, obviously, the blackest of the orcs. Some cool units, and they're going to be racking up a large number of kills. I do mean a large number. See, the gates yet to have been broken, but the Black Orcs have exited their siege equipment and are currently slaughtering the peasants that were left to guard the walls. Now, there is obviously a full-on Wa army that is also coming into support. You can see many of them moving into position. The battering ram, I need to just stop building these. They're completely useless and slow, and I could have already broken the gate about 3 times just using my big monsters, and would have been far more effective. Let's look at some of the stats that these units are racking up. 98 kills already on this Black Orc unit. We've got 76 kills here, 92, and then now there's goblins hopping over the walls as well in support of the initial Black Orc attack. Not that the Black Orcs really need backup at this point. It looks like they could tear through the entire Bretonnian garrison with some degree of ease. The archers in the Wa army are helpful, though, because these filthy peasants were sitting up here feeling somewhat invincible, and now they're being shot by Orc Error Boys and Goblin Archers. Must be Wissen's Wild Form or something being cast there. They can Wild Form all they want, it's not going to do anything. You can see the initial waves of peasants have actually already been beaten by these 2 units, and they're now just chopping through archers. The gate, as of yet, undamaged, because again, the battering ram is nincompoopishly bad. Here it is. You all saw it a minute ago, like, it's getting stuck on these goblins and almost unable to get up to the gate. So, about 10 years into the battle, the battering ram has arrived. So again, point taken. See, yeah, I get it. You don't want me to use battering rams. Said and done. So, really glad that the peasants could offer up more sacrifices here on the walls. It is definitely appreciated. You can now see 2 units of Grail Knights waiting for me over here, but remember, these Black Orcs should be able to put up a significant fight against even Grail Knights. The battering ram is going to finally be getting to work. We see some more buffing from the Prophetess there, but it's going to take a lot more than that to save her troops. We've got a Wa going on, and obviously the stats are going to be absolutely through the roof. Battering ram finally decides to make its presence felt. And we destroyed the gates. This will allow my monsters and leaders to come in, and the leadership's going to come in first. We're going to see Cannibal Daka and Guts the Gastromancer, and I can't remember the other guy's name at the moment. Buttlock de horrible. That's right. So here they go. They're going to come in first. And no doubt Guts de Gastromancer is looking for the juiciest cavalry blob since he has the Foot of Gork, and it's so obscenely effective against cavalry blobs. So I'm going to have the spiders go over and create said blob. My 2 Arachnarok spiders here. I'm going to hopefully lure in both Grail Knights so that we can give them a singular stomping. It may be only 1 foot from Gork, but it doesn't mean that he can't stomp out 2 cavalry units. So the spiders indeed become very nice bait. And the Foot of Gork is now set up. You can see we lured some more cavalry away from the town center into the loving arms of our Gobos. And here comes the Foot, folks, in all of its cinematic glory. Stompy, stompy. Gork will fix it, folks. Gork will fix it. Even summoned some spider hatchlings because of our delicious wyvern stew that even the spiders are enjoying at this point. And at this point, the full-on Wa has basically penetrated the citadel here of Couronne, and Cannibal Daka is looking completely unstoppable, and probably is by any means the Bretonians have at hand. They won't be stopping him. See some Pegasus Knights coming in. Too little, too late. Flying into their own slaughter. Their only good stat, which is their charge, being mostly obstructed by the fanciful castles. A little bit of Ed butt there, since we don't have enough magic left for another Foot of Gork. Yeah, you can see the Bretonnian leadership starting to fade away as their precious capital city and all of its baguette is going to fall into the hands of Grom, who will no doubt enjoy it with some excellent hearty wyvern stew. Now that delicious wyvern stew is really going to pair well with all the Bretonnian wine and baguette that we just stole at this point. So a decisive victory for Cannibal Daka of Carthage. And not only that, I mean, just look at that Foot of Gork right there for Guts de Gastromancer, picking up 10,000 damage dealt, basically all in one go. But can't say enough about how black is indeed the new green, with our Black Orcs look at the absolute pummeling that they were dishing out to these poor peasant saps. Now, we are going to loot and occupy Couronne, so lots of good loot. And Cannibal Daka of Carthage will be rebuilding his forces and ready to strike out on another Wa very quickly now that Couronne is firmly in control of the boss. Now, I will need you all to help me a bit in maybe how we're going to rename Couronne. You know, that may not be a bad idea. You know, having access to Spideys here is probably a good thing. Don't think the squigs make as much sense here. This probably doesn't hurt to have around. Boars is good. Build some defenses. Build a pile of teeth. And make the the growth and replenishment. Actually, we don't probably need a ton of growth and replenishment, but you know what? Let's do it. I'm going to tear this down and probably build something else in its place. So there we have it, folks. Couronne is going to be remolded for the boss. For the boss. Let's take a look at our new characters and take a look at their skills here. We got a skill point for Gordon de Ramsey. Let's see, Dodgy Geeper. He's got his War Boar. He's gotten improvements for his infantry. Probably not a bad thing, though none of them will probably meet any of the higher level improvements at the moment, which kind of makes me want to go and start putting some blue skill points for the time being, because these boys got a long way to go before they're going to be having any advantage from the upper tier infantry improvements there. Back on your feet would be good, but let's start with, actually, training may not be a bad idea here. His armor value is already quite high. Don't think that we're going to get a ton of payback out of that at the moment. Let's improve the heap of shiny stuff at Castle Ballon. And let's take Mousillon, which will, of course, also need a name once it's fallen under control of Grom, which I think you all can imagine how this battle is going to end. Tormund Le Guardian. As his name seems to suggest, he is a great guardian, but once you hear the real story behind Tormund, you may not be as impressed. He actually earned the name once because he came into a pub completely naked, famished and hungry because he was a Bretonnian peasant, and he was given a piece of bread. His stomach, so famished from not having eaten, couldn't actually digest all the bread at once, and so he had to hold on to the second part of it, and he was so hungry that he fought off every other peasant who tried to get to the bread, and there were a lot because this is Bretonnia. And having been impressed by his ability to defend his piece of bread, somehow even while he was sleeping, the local nobility gave Tormund a bit of a promotion, and now having eaten daily bread, he appears to be stronger, and they also gave him some clothing. He is the guardian, but the question is, he can guard his piece of bread, but can he guard his settlement against Grom? Because Grom is here, and his wolves are chewing through the gate. That's right, because CA won't have him turn and use his axe to actually cut the gate, we're watching his wolves bite a hole in the gate. And, I mean, he might as well eat while he's waiting. Well done, Niblet. Yeah, the wolves are apparently switching over to be herbivores as they get to dine on some fine Bretonnian oak tonight. Grom's Wa is here, and it is a Wa indeed. You can see them covering the ground between their reinforcement point and the walls of Mousillon, which very vampire-esque, so I guess the Bretonnians didn't really care to ever improve on the decorations left by the Red Duke. And I can't really say much for the Red Duke's decorations, though these scented candles are a very nice addition on the walls, because the smell is just terrible when you start cutting these peasants open. I mean, they haven't bathed, they've been eating who knows what, up to and including animal excrements because of how mistreated they are. And so the scented candles are nice. They are a nice touch. Anyway, Grom is through the gate, and here goes Tormund the Guardian. He could save his bread, but can he save himself? My guess is the answer is no, as Grom is an absolute infantry destroying machine. You can already see it'd be nice if there's little tire treads on the back of his fancy cape. And unlike Sigvald, his cape doesn't stay clean. He is already fleeing for his life. The wolf's going to get a nice bite of him here. A little Benny Hill chase music here as CA, please fix those animations. But you can see that Tormund the Guardian very quickly driven back, already wavering. Grom taking a huge chunk out of him and pushing him around in a hilarious, soundless movie type fashion that we've come to expect in these situations where a chariot is plowing a single entity infantry unit. CA, please. There he goes, finally took a hit. More tire tracks. I love how the people shooting at Grom have managed to pierce their own leader with multiple arrows. I do find that fairly entertaining. So, yeah, the good news is for him, he won't be needing any bread where he's going. That's going to be the end of his need for food. If the Red Duke ever comes back, he'll have a new zombie to raise. In any case, the rest of the Bretonnian garrison is not going to be faring well. The boyz have arrived, and they are on the walls. And the Lava Arachnarok Spider is also on scene, ready to come assist Grom, as is the Feral Hydra, which, walking together, looked like some kind of, well, not a human centipede, but some type of monster centipede that looked pretty cool. We're going to follow Grom as he goes in for the kill. As he rounds the corner, he finds the last of the Bretonnian nobles, waiting gallantly back in the town square as the peasants die without any support. Now, Grom is so immense that he's really not even afraid of an entire cavalry unit. He's far too immense for them to have any real effect, and you can see that he kills multiples on every swing of his mighty axe. Not only that, he's going to get a little assistance from some spider hatchlings, at least momentarily. The Lava Arachnarok Spider decided to come a little bit closer, drop the hatchlings behind Grom as to intercept these wannabe nobles back here who are coming to try and reinforce their horses who were summarily destroyed by Grom and his chariot. So take that whole anti-infantry bonus with a grain of salt, because apparently Grom is anti-everything. Though infantry will do just fine. Hopefully this peasant meat will stew up nicely. And we'll have a lot of horse meat when everything's said and done. Man, that lava Ragnarok spider is such a cool unit. CA, please, more of those. So, there we go. It's going to be the end of the peasants, folks. They are utterly defeated. And Mousillon falls under Grom's control. Now, this guy's namesake here is wildly misplaced, and the Bretonians definitely need to rethink how they view him in history, as Grom could have easily won this battle by himself, fueled by the Wyvern stew, as were the rest of his troops, most of which who honestly just took a breather, because why not? So we're going to loot and occupy Mousillon. Picked up a Talisman of Protection. Now that could be pretty handy. Let's go take a look at Cannibal's kit here. He's got his Potion of Toughness, a Talisman of Endurance, which is better than what he would be offered. And, you know, while not great, his lackeys there have some equipment at their use. So maybe we shall deliver this talisman to Gordon de Ramsay and give him this striking sword, as he is quite striking, as in strikingly handsome. Let's see what else we can offer him. Got the other Trickster's Shard that I think is mostly useless to us here. Take a look at banners or anything else we can do. Untainted in the local province is always good. The ability to steal magic items after a battle is always good. Casualties captured, you definitely want that. Income from sacking, you know, that's a big part of the income. And then there was another income one here, I think that was available. Yeah, post-battle loot. We'll definitely take all of that on. I don't know how much kit we got left for the rest of his gang here. Not much. Not much. I guess we could equip this talisman. So we have something else, and then there's some enchanted stuff here, which we can go ahead and give out, I suppose. And then put some of these banners on here. Again, not a whole lot we can do for either one of these two, which, by the way, they still need names. In case you all want to get involved in that. This kind of makes more sense to have on him. There is a forbidden rod for him, though it does cause damage, of course. Come from sacking settlements, from looting. Alright, so we have them kitted out as best we can at the current. We are making plenty of money off of our looting in order to keep things up. We are 3 turns away from the total completion of Gordon de Ramsay's army. And Scrappius, despite a git, is in position to strike back against the Dawi, who just will not ever leave us alone at this point. I mean, have the Greenskins ever been, like, expansionist? Oh, yeah, we have. Multiple times. Yeah, we kind of have. Come to think of it, now that you mention it. We do have a Wyvern mount for Cannibal, but I don't know if it fits him because of him being a boar-focused army, but, you know, I guess it's just kind of like a flying boar, right? So I feel like it should certainly be something to be considered here. Casualty replenishment rate. Yeah, let's give him the Wyvern. Let's have some fun. But Cannibal gets a Wyvern. It'd kind of be like his elephant, you know, since he's named after my namesake, Carthage there. And we'll get an Arcane Conduit for Guts to Gastromancer, because you can't have enough winds of magic, especially when you got Gork's Stompin' available to you. We picked up a bit more scrap here, and I feel like we should continue to dish that scrap out. Let's see what we get here for the Spider. An extra bonus versus large I don't think is needed near as much as just having the extra melee defense. Personally, I just think melee defense goes a lot farther for units. And that took up a pretty good chunk of our scrap. Never hurts to have a bit extra, so I'm going to hang on to some. No doubt we'll be gaining more scrap over the next couple of turns.
What you want? Underway.
Porco is over here. Hopefully he won't have to stab the Hag Merchant, but, you know, it's always possible if she doesn't give us the right deal. I'm going to have to repair Islefart. I really don't have much answer to this marauding army at the moment. Gordon de Ramsay I guess, could take over. And as much as I would like to have these catapults, we kind of do need to get him on the move. So what we could do is take advantage of these Spider Rider archers that became available to us thanks to our fine dining. And in fact, we could just replace... I'm pretty sure, yeah, the lava archers don't have poison arrows. We could combine them, though, with these poison arrows. And let's see, how can we scrap upgrade these guys to? The combat skin sacks, reload reduction time. Yeah. This is some good stuff. Some good stuff. So we could spend a little scrap and upgrade these guys to where they do even more damage. That'll still leave me a little bit of extra scrap here. And then we can get this army underway and go put an end to this Bretonnian raiding that's going on. So yeah, that'll work for now. I think this is good. I don't know how Grom could get any more skilled at this point, and it looks like I might be joining Grimgor's war.
Lord of the Black Court, Lord of Fear.
They have a fair number of Black Arcs just kind of perusing here. Oh, actually, I won't, unless they invade Lioness, so hopefully I can take it before they get there. The only war I'll probably be joining with Grimgor is the one against him, as I am going to force him to confederate, whether he likes it or not. Grom is pretty thick-skinned, and there is a nice layer of fat under there as well. So we'll go ahead and go with that. And then as far as Patchy, we're just going to have to skill dump here. He's basically got maxed out on everything. We know we don't feel like building any of these forest ones. And let's end another turn here. I'm going to look at a few more comments. Senshi Bat says, lock it down, everything, the oat, your pot, your plate, it up for Grom's gut, lazy about gets. Thanks, Senshi. A prophet all the time. Trantor says, what a nice Saturday this makes for. Well, hopefully this makes for a nice Monday, Tuesday, probably Monday that I get this out. Ian says, funniest campaign. Thanks for continuing. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Thank you for the support. Thorin666 says, great to have Grom back, especially the cinematic battles. I really miss those close-up shots. A name suggestion for Castle Baston, Whitestone Quarry. Well, it would be a great name suggestion. I would have been happy to undertake it. Look at this. Humberger Helper, once again, called to defend against those who are unworthy. Lewin taking over this army, and we should have ourselves an interesting fight on our hands here. I don't think the Bretonnians are going to have what it takes to break in to Humberger Helper. Let's fight its defense. But Lewin certainly wasn't the first, and maybe not the last, flying Humi here to underestimate the garrison that Krusha and his boys have at Humberger Helper. Ever since having been taken by the Empire, it was built into a near impregnable fortress. Probably not quite as strong as Fort Saul, but if you gave the Greenskins the Daka, they could probably make it happen, I would assume. Unfortunately, we don't have any Daka. But Lewin is going to immediately try and get rid of... Well, I guess we do have Daka. I guess that would be our Error Boys. And he's going to try and get rid of them. But I'm going to send DeBiggins up to greet him. And immediately, right off the bat, the Bretonnians are met with overwhelming tower fire. And of course, the Goblin Doom Diver catapults, which completely slaughtered a unit of peasants with halberds. And then also working on destroying these field trebuchets, which are probably some of the only hope the Bretonnians have outside of just scaling the walls. And scaling the walls with Bretonnian infantry into the waiting, loving arms of boyz is probably ill-advised on the best of days. And let's be honest, look at Lewin right now. This is not the best of days for Bretonnia. Couronne has fallen, Mousillon has fallen, Castle Ballon, you know, not Baston anymore, has also fallen, and several other settlements are in dire threat. Having given up on his hope to take out the Daka, Lewin then makes an even more stupid move, and boy, the Giants thought they were dumb, but Lewin is apparently far more dumb, and he comes down to go clubbing with these two, and they love clubbing, whereas Lewin apparently just doesn't have the moves for it, and the great Gabo nightclub shaman would also not approve. So Lewin is going to get clubbed not just by giants, but also by trolls. Again, creatures who know far more about clubbing than Lewin ever will. He suffers a rather quick death because of his inability to cut a rug or bust a move. Meanwhile, on the walls, the Black Orcs are greeting the Bretonnian infantry, and if this is the best that Bretonnia has to offer, then they might want to try again, as these wannabe nobles really don't have much of a prayer of making any headway against the Black Orcs. Especially considering these garrison units, some of them have silver chevrons because of the number of enemies that they've killed in the battles leading up to this. These are not just your typical garrison. These are highly experienced garrisons. See, the towers have been captured. More peasants climbing over the walls. They will be greeted by a large axe very quickly. Don't imagine it's going to go well for them. Yeah. Not so much. So the peasants find themselves in very dire straits. I have even more Black Orcs moving to reinforce against these foot squires who thought they were going to come down from the walls, but then maybe decided that wasn't also a viable course of action. And then the Bretonnians realized that they were trying to open the gates, but maybe they shouldn't have, because the gates opened themselves and unleashed the boyz and also the trolls and giants. And so now, whatever reinforcements the Bretonnians had are being absolutely savaged. But, you know, they also found out that they really don't know how to club. So the Bretonnians at Humebigger Helper were shut down even easier than some of the armies that Franz sent. So, Bretonnia, please, try harder next time. The people need entertainment, okay? It's hard for me to keep people entertained with such low-quality troops, you know? Just gonna have to do better. Expect more. Expect a better fight. That's the end, folks. As you can imagine, they didn't succeed. Well, Lewin has learned what many filthy humans before him have learned, is that they make better food than they do fighters. They just don't have it in them. I am going to replenish the boyz, even though it'll only be a small amount. I guess these Bretonnians is a bit stringy. Lash God says, great video, keep up the work. Francesco says, Immensity is back. Indeed he is. Sean H. Corey, GG, glad Grom is back. That's what GG stands for. Glad Grom is back. I missed the B, I guess. Thanks, Sean. Barbarians RS says, Mork be praised. Chug your beer and grab your gear. The lootin' time, it's lootin' time, boys. That is true. That is true. So... Hag merchant spotted near Grom's anvil. I guess it's kind of near Grom's anvil.
What you want?
There we go. Does this work? We already have lion meat. I guess we need to take the cooking challenge. And let's see what it is that... Well, we can't unlock anything new, actually. So, we can't unlock anything new. We already have lion meat. Hag surprise. We don't want a random one because we got a good one. So I think we should just have Porco go ahead and stab her. I mean, I didn't expect this to be the outcome, but daylight robbery it is. Got some nice scrap from the hag. Told her don't come back until you find me something new and tasty. Okay? I'm gonna push Gordon de Ramsey up here into the Reek land. Make sure the Humies don't. Make sure they just don't get ahead of themselves and thinking that they might have some snowball's chance of retaking what was once theirs. It's just not going to happen. Just not gonna happen. So he will move in and dissuade any ideas that they may have had about regaining their independence. They work for Grom now. Okay? That's just how this works. That is how this works. Speaking of, Grom is going to be headed out and go pay a visit to Lioness in its beautiful countryside. Couronne coming well under our control now. Let's see what else we should build here. Untainted. That could be helpful. Because we do have Sneaky Skaven around. Some obedience. Probably not a bad idea. I'm going to leave one slot open in case we decide to do something special with it. And we're going to come down here and attack Languil. See, there's going to be lots of places they're going to need more Grom-appropriate names here, folks. They are going to be starving after one turn. I am going to get a couple of towers ready, but outside of that, we'll go ahead and get ready for the assault. So let's continue the siege. Let's only take a turn. Let's go find Scrappiest despite a get. So we control the WA target. Do you get the prize based on the strength of the faction when you went to war with them, I'm assuming? Because obviously we're knocking Bretonnia down the chain pretty quick here with the savage beatdown that the boyz is providing. Get up here and get some revenge against Couronne. The Stunty food bank looking pretty good. Stunty takeout needs its full defenses just in case. I don't think we'll need any additional growth, obviously, so let's put in that building that'll help me in case we need to move around the province faster. For instance, say like chasing Stunties across the landscape, which is a very real possibility at this point. Alright, at Morsel, it can be leveled up. I'm going to go ahead and spend the teeth to do this. We'll need to give our enemies some savage beatings in order to make a little more cash to keep funding the WA here. But I figure we can continue to do so. We've got dwarf settlements. We've got Humi scum. Got all kinds to choose from. Plus, as we build these new settlements, we should be gaining some cash from the heaps of shiny stuff that we will be amassing there. Let's take a look at some more comments here. Sons of Lorgar had a suggestion. I suggest His Immensity rename the Humi city to Castle Bashdom. Now, that is a pretty good idea. In fact, we could rename Couronne that. Well, actually, I'll save Couronne. We'll find some castle settlement if we own one and rename it. If not, I'll just pick one of these settlements and do it. Like Mousillon. I don't know, though. I feel like Mousillon and Couronne deserve some kind of special naming because they have kind of a different name. We have Castle Boulogne. There's Castle Ortois there we could rename. Ah, heck, let's just name one of them that. Why not? Let's just go to Mousillon. I'll leave Couronne for the special naming because it's the, it was the WA target here and probably deserves something that you all get a chance to be creative, particularly with that name. But let's call this one after the name that was suggested. There we go. So nice typo there, here. Castle Bashdom. I like it. I like it a lot. Alright. Scrappiest. Get us some scrap. How about you? Couronne. These Thunderers are a little bit annoying because they can give us a pretty good shooting unless we come in properly equipped, like with some towers here, and the Stunties can hold out here a surprisingly long time, all things considered, because remember, we've got the Wyvern Stew working to our benefit here as well. That ought to get the Stunties busy. Let's see, I don't know where those Bretonian remnants ran off to. Did they give up on Alfart? Because we're going to have some defenses coming soon in some of these settlements, but we don't have it entirely, so as much as I'd love to go, well, I kind of would love to go face bashing over here. But we do need to protect ourselves. Let's just roll down here and make sure the Humies don't try and retake things, because I am spending quite a bit of teeth down here to try and improve the Reek land. And it needs quite a lot of improvement. We got our towers, lying wheel, and Repanse has taken up the defense. So this will be a great opportunity for us to crush her. Now, folks, I do have a real treat for you in this battle. We're going to have the Hannibal Barca of Warhammer, which is apparently Cannibal Daka of Carthage, facing off against none other than Joan of Arc of Warhammer, which of course is Repanse de Lyonesse. And we're going to find her. She's probably hiding in the back, as typical Bretonnian nobles do. No? No? Yes. Yes. Yeah, she's hiding. Repanse. Okay, here she is. She's not hiding. She's actually closer to the front than one expected. Yeah, Warhammer Joan of Arc, aka Repanse de Lyonesse. She is actually a pretty tough character. She gets into the right fights. So this ought to be fun. So we got Hannibal versus Joan of Arc, and people say that Warhammer just isn't as good as historical Total War, right? It can be both, clearly. So if you ever wondered who would win in a battle between Joan of Arc and Hannibal, you're about to get the answer. The siege towers are on the way to the walls. Only have a couple because we didn't want to drag out the siege any longer than was necessary. So we're going to see the great orc siege towers, which are so beautifully constructed. There's something to be said of the majesty that is orc construction. The pure order of it all, right? I mean, look at the way that's strapped together. That is some fine craftsmanship, if Grom says so himself. Now, Cannibal is quite hungry. Obviously, he's not actually cannibalizing, but he is hungry. And his wyvern needs a good meal, and peasant meat is a little bit stringy, not very tender. It's kind of like when you want a sirloin steak that you just end up with a round steak, but you know, you can still pound it out and make a chicken fried steak, and in this case, maybe a chicken fried peasant later, but I guess the wyvern prefers them raw and wriggling, as does Gollum. So I guess they have something in common in that respect. So we're going to see the Black Orcs absolutely shredding whatever's on the walls, and as per usual, the Wa armies are making their way forward and are readying the ladders for an assault. La Anguille will be the anguish for Bretonnia. They can name it to La Anguish. I love the big sword back there. It's a sword that's almost big enough for Grom. Wait, where'd it go? There it is. Yeah. Grom needs to go pick up that sword. I mean, he's about the size of a mountain, so that might be appropriate. So let's take a look here at the battle. We can see that Cannibal has already racked up 21 kills, giving these archers terror fits. And the gates are being assaulted by my Ragnarok spiders, who are fairly close to punching through it. The Black Orcs are racking up hundreds of kills already, and none of their reinforcements are even necessary, as they will easily hack their way through everything on the wall. Look at this one, almost 200 kills already, so you can see that those Black Orcs are going to be quite effective moving forward. As soon as the spiders break through the gate, should be able to get to the interesting stuff, and there they are, right on cue. Drooling venom out their mouths. Already peasants running while defecating themselves. And it looks like the spiders are fighting on who gets to go through the gate first. That is not a 2-spider gate, and I would appreciate it if Bretonnia would consider the larger critters when designing their gates, you know? They really shouldn't discriminate like that. So, we've seen this picture before. We kind of know what happens when Grail Knights get in a big pile up against a spider, and it doesn't always go well for the knights involved in this exercise. Let's take a look here. Repanse is going to actually join in this fight against the spider. Again, she is actually a pretty tough character. You look at this here, the Sword of Lyonesse. She gets tough, but her cavalry, not so much. But here she is. She is pouring it on thick. She is going to take some big chunks out of one of our spiders. I have to admit, we'll give Repanse some bravery points here. Now, she isn't fighting Grom, which I would be more impressed by, but, you know, still, taking on 2 Ragnarok spiders while having just watched all of her knights got their face stomped on. It's worth mentioning, I guess. Maybe in like a dinner song when we're eating all the peasants and their horses afterwards. And speaking of the peasants and their horses, look at this, the nobility actually riding out to help the peasants at the gate. Still a little late, but, you know, they arrived, which is saying something. I don't know how much it's saying, but it's saying something. So Repanse is still fighting the spiders, and one of the spiders is pretty damaged. She has done fairly well. Then the steeds found themselves surrounded by spider hatchlings, which is probably not a good time for them, as it's causing poison. And no doubt Guts the Gastromancer is summoning up the winds of magic, because I think you all can see what is being asked for here by the Bretonnians by piling up all their cavalry. And Cannibal is just waiting for it. He doesn't want to interfere with what's coming, because Gork will fix it, folks. Gork will fix it. See? Fixed. So once again, Repanse watches her knights get disintegrated, and this time Cannibal comes down, so now we're getting some actual Hannibal versus Joan of Arc footage, straight from history. This is exactly what it looked like. Whatever they tell you about elephants, it was actually spiders. Don't kid yourself, folks. Don't kid yourself. Anyway, the peasants are trying to hold together what's left of their defense. They've been breached on the other side by trolls and goblins, and the trolls and goblins are making their way towards the town center. There are some Grail Knights who are looking to face off with the goblins, who are just standing on the walls laughing at them, no doubt. These goblins, pretty brave. They're actually being beaten in maybe the only instance ever of a Bretonnian unit winning combat against one of Grom's forces, but I guess it's not saying much. An unchevroned goblin unit up against some pretty high nobility, and that nobility is about to get a lesson in clubbing. And they're going to fail it, just like their king Lewin did previously, so not something that's going to go well for them. So the Bretonnian resistance, Elanguil, is broken. See Guts to Gastromancer giving a nice fireball to the Grail Knights, though it won't do much to them. And let's see whether the Grail Knights can take on even an Orc Shaman. Guts turns around to give them a Gastromancing, and immediately on contact, the most brave Grail Knights of Bretonnia flee his presence, for which he gives them a little magic missile for their trouble to speed them on their way. Well, boys, the Wyvern stew is just too much. I mean, look at the damage we dealing out to these peasant scum. Look at this. Got a Talisman of Preservation there, so that's a great haul. 17,320 damage, 3,602 value, 21,853, 21,132. So yeah, we were laying it down thick all over Repanse de Lioness, who was appropriately killed. Well, oh man, I thought she was killed a lioness. Okay, never mind. It wasn't her namesake. Loot and occupy. So we now occupy a port. We don't need any growth or replenishment, I don't think, here, because our armies will be replenishing quite quickly as it is. We do need a heap of shiny stuff and some defenses. In fact, I'll start with the defenses, then we'll build a heap of shiny stuff, which you can see is cutting into how much we are losing each turn. We do get a ward save here of 17%, which means we should probably pass this along down the line here. Let's go see what kind of stuff Cannibal has. He has a 12%. Let's drop the Talisman of Preservation, and let's put that on him, and then we'll come over here. Let's see what Scrapius has. Yeah, he's got one as well, which means that we can give this improved version here to Gordon de Ramsey, and then we can pass along something more useful here, like this ward save to the Black Orc Big Boss, this least effective one down here. So we're kind of just passing this down to those whom it is most appropriate for. Not a whole lot else we can do with equipment, but I think a good episode. We took the WA target, and I'm going to use Grom here, the auto-resolve. Going to make this one easy for us, so we'll grab another port here. And with all these ports and loot, we are in good shape in terms of satisfying the WA here. Let's repair the port, and we'll put in some defense here. Not worried about... yeah, actually, it is kind of handy to have these. Let's repair that. Probably don't... We have this one up at Couronne. Go ahead and repair this one. We have the spider thing up at Couronne, so I'll tear that down. Never hurts to have some infantry available to us. And we'll kind of just play it by ear from there, but you can see our income is going to go up considerably. May even be able to afford all these armies shortly once we've built everything up proper, or at least get pretty close to it, I think, in the end. So one way or the other, income from post-battle loot rating. Yeah, one way or the other, we'll be doing well. So we've taken most of the lands off of the horse peasants. I'm going to leave it here for now. Make sure you leave your comments. I know I didn't get to all of them today, but we had a lot of great ones, and thank you for leaving them. Hope you all enjoyed it. HeirofCarthage signing out for now. I will see you all soon, back with his immensity.